Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hello, everybody. Let us welcome Aubrey. Hey, Aubrey.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. What the hell's that from? Hello. Mrs. Doubtfire, maybe?
Yes. When all the stuff is on her, when she puts
Yeah.
her face in when Robin Williams puts his face in the pie thing.
Yes. Hey, Jen's here. Hey, Jen. So,
Jen.
Aubrey, I don't know if you can see. Is there a comments thing on the side of your screen?
Yep.
Oh, you can see it? Okay, cool, because I can see it. I didn't know if you could. So, hey, Jen, thanks for joining us. Jen's a coach herself.
Oh.
Yeah, so fancy. We got fancy people.
Like
wait, I'm a coach. I just realized. Wait, I'm a coach. Never mind. Strike that. It sounds so important when I was talking about somebody else.
I know.
Then I'm like, wait.
Never mind.
Oh, that's priceless. So, and Bill's here. Yes, but all coaches need coaches, and you're fancy too, Glenn. Yeah. Thank you. All right, cool. Jen and Bill, this is a great start. These are two quality people we got already. So nice stuff. So yeah, so today, the other day, and Denise, wow.
Hi,
yeah,
Denise.
all the all-stars are.
Hello.
And Susan.
Ooh,
look at from Oz. So that's Australia. So Jenna, where are you again? I think Bill's in upstate New York, if I remember right. Denise. I know where all of you are, and I can't remember. Where are you guys? You're just gonna have to tell me. So yeah, like the other day, Dallas, Texas, Jen. That's right. Yeah, the other day, something was something that was kind of, I've talked about for years, was coming through. And Denise is from Michigan. Okay, thank you, everybody. Yeah, something, I've seen this for years and I've talked about it for years, but it was in a different way. And then I kind of got some insight flashing through, which kind of seemed interesting to me. So here we are. And now it's a podcast. So yeah, I was like, I've talked for years about the spiritual awakening happening. And usually when I talk about it how the desire to be a good human being is rising up, and it's becoming more important, and it's manifesting in a lot of ways. Some people are that urge to, really look at the amount of people that are in their 40s and 50s starting secondary careers now. This has never happened in history. So that's a symptom of it. Another symptom is I used to talk about the driving in the States a lot, because like all of a sudden now it's a thing that if you see somebody attempting to pull out of a side street, you lock up your brakes, cause a 8-car pileup because you decided that'd be a nice thing to let them go and pull out into traffic. So that never happened before. Like 10 years, people started doing it, and I'm just driving down a straightaway, just there's nothing going on, not expecting anything. And then all of a sudden some car in front of me slams on their brakes and I almost rear end them. I'm like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden they're just sitting there waving somebody that's not paying attention. Because they're not expected to get let out.
Stop.
Because if me and that other car just drove by, they just would have pulled out behind us and it would have been quicker that way anyway.
Right.
But people have this urge to be a good person. So it's never been like this. And this is actually a thing on the roads. Like this didn't happen. Like this happened never, ever in my life, ever. And then 10 years ago, it started happening consistently. So like, I was like, oh my God, this isn't, I tuned into it. I'm like, what the hell's happening here? It's like, oh, what's the motivation? That's how I kind of tune into things. I'm like, what's their motivation? It's like, well, obviously they're trying to be a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did they think how it was going to affect the other cars on the road and all that? No, they didn't. But I think it's because, we're on this learning curve of learning how to be a nice person. Also it manifests a lot in how, I talk often about how love is strong. We need to learn that love is strong, because a lot of people think that being kind and loving and a good person means being a doormat, and it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to, because for years Mother Teresa was the only example of a good person. So it's just give till your knuckles bleed, be a martyr, and all this stuff. So so everybody wants to, that desire to be a good person is bubbling up, but we're in a learning curve. We need to understand how to do it responsibly, not to do it irresponsibly, not only for ourselves, but for others, like the car thing. It's like,
yeah, you're being a nice person at the expense of what?
Right. And it's
how nice are you really being?
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of, and it's, I mean, you can't blame somebody for trying to be a good person. So it's not about blaming or shaming. It's just kind of understanding that, hey, maybe we're in the middle of a learning curve and we have to pay attention to how we're doing this, So that type of stuff I've been talking about for years. And then I forgot what the exact topic I was talking about was, but I saw it kind of in a different way. And I saw the spiritual shift happening and that desire to be a good person coming. And then I kind of was seeing how everybody talks. The spiritual talk is trendy now. And I don't mean trendy in a way that it's going to go away. I mean trendy in a way that it's trendy. It's going to become a way of life, more and more. But a lot of people, now nobody even knew what the hell the word namaste meant 20 years ago.
Right. Now
it's a joke word because everybody knows what it means, and they make a joke out of it. So it's, which is all part of the learning curve. It's fine, whatever. But it's just a sign that people are learning more spiritual words and spiritual mentalities, and meditation is just, the amount of people meditating now is just insane. So it's like the way, so I think I kind of saw it this way the other day. It was something about working and how, people used to say the business, oh, it's just business. Oh, it's just business. And that was like a free pass to screw people over and be greedy and money hungry and all this stuff. And you don't really hear people saying that much anymore, because people understand it's BS. It's not just business, it's people. You're doing business with other people. So if you're screwing other people over, you're still screwing over other people. It doesn't matter if it's for business or without. And we're starting to understand that you don't need to screw other people over just to make money.
Right.
I'm a big fan of making money, but I'm not going to screw somebody to do it, because then I'm just a jerk who screws people over. I'd rather be a good person that makes money than a bad person that makes money. 100%. And that's just up to me and my actions, So that's, now I just brought in actions, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about, the disconnect between the words and the actions. If you were to ask a room full of 1,000 people, hey, does money buy happiness? Every hand is going to be like, absolutely not. No. Raise your hand if that's a no. No.
Yeah.
Like, okay, how many of you spend 90% of your time making money? Every hand's going to go up and go, yes. You know, like, so it's, we're getting it. It's bubbling up from within. We're feeling different in a good way. We're feeling that it's important to do things that we enjoy with our lives. We're feeling that it's important to be kind to other people. You know, all the spiritual stuff is bubbling up inside of us, and it's pushing its way up into our consciousness, you know, and it's coming out our mouths, and we're starting to understand it intellectually. So all this stuff is wonderful that's happening. It's just in a lot of situations, our actions haven't caught up to our intellect or our mouth yet. You know, so in a lot of situations, our mouth and our feet aren't going in the same direction. And that's not, you know, what I'm talking about right now. Like, some people will do that is because they don't have integrity.
Right.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that because I'm talking about the scenario that we're in globally, because we're in the middle of a spiritual shift and there's a learning curve, you know, and I think, oops. Oh, my screen just went dark. Okay.
We can still see and hear you.
Yeah. I don't know why everything just went black, but it's back up now. So
there we go.
Yeah. So, so it's like, you know, what the heck was I saying?
So we're talking about how when words and actions aren't linking up, you're not referring to the lack of integrity, but it's more so a learning curve.
Right. So it's important not to blame, you know. Well, it's always important not to blame, but it's even more important now, you know, and in this scenario. That's what I don't, you know, where we have to get away from this blame game. So, you know, when I bring up this topic, I want to make sure that we don't go land in some spiritual snobbery on the way.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's okay. This is just part of the learning curve. And if you listen to other podcasts that I'm talking about, it makes sense, because, like, how many of us that are on a journey to better ourselves, like, recognize that we're doing something wrong, find out what the solution is, try implementing the solution, and then 3 months later, we're in the exact same spot we were before. It happens, right? And why does it happen? It's most of the time, it's because we learn it intellectually, and then we think we're good, because that's how we've been trained all through school and life. And, you know, once we learn something intellectually, we're good. So then we go, and then all of a sudden we're not implementing it appropriately, and we don't know why. And we get caught up in habitual old patterns, and we end up in the same place. Well, like, oh my God, how did I get here? It's because you didn't slow down and internalize the lesson to get it into your body, get it conceptually, you know, reframing. You know, I've talked about that a lot on podcasts, reframing it in the brain, releasing old energy that's attached to the old way, you know, slowing down and really getting it in our body. So we're moving too fast. So people don't do that. I mean, people working on themselves that are pretty conscious often don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, I've caught myself not doing it. So it's, you know, so then you take the average person that is starting to, this desire to be a good person is bubbling up within them. They have very little self-awareness. Like, you know, and intellectually they might even grasp onto it here and there, but how the hell, they're not going to know. Then
yeah, you don't know. So
right.
It's
and those of us that know what we know half the time don't do it. So you think the people who don't even know are going to do it now. So this is where our learning curve comes in, you know. So it's, you know, the stuff that I'm seeing is the, you know, the money piece, the job piece, so it's, what's nice about this though is, like, it's simple. Quite honestly, this lesson is simpler to get than previous lessons, because previous lessons were intellectual understandings. And even the desire to be a good person, like that's just a desire. How do you navigate a desire? It's very ethereal.
It's like a daydream.
Yeah, and it's intangible, and you don't know if it's real. You kind of get this feeling, then you have a couple beers and it passes, and then you move on with your life. And all this stuff. But this is action based. We're getting into the stage of the shift that is action based. And like, I've been doing this for years. When somebody is stuck as a client, and if they're just dragging their feet, or it feels like they're stagnant for some reason, then you just have them do some action. Because when they do action, then they can't blame anything other than themselves. They can't, if you say, here's 3 actionable steps, do these 3 actionable steps over the next 2 weeks. And then they come back and you go, did you do the things? And they're like, no, I got busy and it's like, well,
yeah.
Do you see how you're your own problem?
Yeah. It's accountability.
Right. You're refusing to take the steps. So, like if it's ethereal, like a lot of times if people hit a wall of pain when they're working with me, and I just hold them there because that's my job, is to hold them there and see if they'll break through that wall of pain, or see if they'll retreat back. Then when I'm holding them there, it's very easy for them to point the finger and say, start projecting onto me. Their fears, they'll spin things around, start projecting them onto me and be like, well, you don't know everything, Glenn. Like, well, I never said I did. I was just channeling information. It's not even me anyway. Like, so. So I don't think it's me, because I'm not even the one that's sending the information through. So it's not. But like the projections will start at me. But if you have them take actionable steps and then they don't follow through with the action, it's clear to be like, look, well, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Right. If you don't put in the effort, you don't take the action, you're not going to get the results. That's just how it works. So since we're in the learning curve, since we've gotten to the stage where it's action oriented, this is good. There's a disconnect there, but I think it's a good sign that we're moving forward. And I think it's hopeful for the future. And quite honestly, I think it's going to make the quality of spiritual teaching much better. Because your mouth and your feet have to be going in the same direction as a spiritual teacher. And a lot of spiritual teachers, it's not. Right. They say, oh, it's all love. It's all connection to source. Now let me teach you how to manifest $1 million. You want that BMW in your driveway?
Right.
Like, well, wait a minute. Wasn't this all about love and source?
Spirituality.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that you can't have a BMW. It's just you don't abandon your connection to source because of a BMW.
Right.
Right. Like, that's all.
Of like materialistic value or social status or anything else. That's not, we're going in the opposite direction.
Right. So, yeah. So it's not, yeah, I think it's gonna, the quality of the spiritual teaching is going to rise because of this, because our feet, and that's where we are now. So we're probably going to be pointing that out more, which actually is even cool too as a teacher, because like your students are going to like move that much quicker because it's all action based now. It's like, you don't have to, we're past the point where you're laying down this freaking groundwork and this understanding and this, like we got it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's where we are with the spiritual stuff. If you like, there isn't a magic amount of knowledge where you're, all of a sudden going to have a spontaneous spiritual awakening. Yeah. It's not how it works. So, we're addicted. I think that this is another example of like I've been saying that we're addicted to information. This is going to get us out of that, because what happens is when people are studying spirituality and diving into spirituality, and they're not where they want to be, their first guess is that, oh, I just must not have the knowledge I need. I must not understand it. I must, I have to read Tolle's 14th book because the first 13th weren't, and it's like, so we get it. So I think that this is going to help us out of that addiction to information. It's not, you can read one book and blow open spiritually if you implement everything in that book.
Right. And just taking in more information, I feel like, is just trying to find a cheat code to not, maybe not have to take all the action.
Right. Yeah, we just assume that it's missing information. Mm-hmm. When it's not. It's not even information based at all. Spirituality isn't information based at all. The information, like Tolle says, it's just signposts. It's pointing towards something. And people think that it's it. Like, oh, the information. Oh, I understand better. Yeah, are you awake? No, but I just don't have all the information yet. No, that's not why you're not awake. The reason you're not awake is because you're addicted to the information. You think when you get it all, then you'll just wake up.
Like that aha moment where a switch flips in your brain. I had to read it a certain way. And to me, it is just like, because if you do the work, it comes.
Right. If you implement it and you take everything and do it deep, like Wayne Dyer took the Tao Te Ching, one of the most spiritual books ever written, and just disengaged with life for, I believe, a year. He just, like, I think he got like a little shack on the beach or something and just completely disconnected from his whole life and took like one lesson out of the Tao Te Ching and implemented it, worked on it for like a week, and then went to the next one and did that for a year. And got all kinds of profound, insights and awakenings from it. And then, made a book out of it and stuff. But, that is, I mean, even just 1 week, I mean, we can do more than 1 week, and we don't necessarily need to, he was an author. He was able to check out of life for a year. Not all of us can do that, but we don't need to, we just need to implement it to the best of our ability, in our daily lives. And it's not missing knowledge. It's missing connection. It's missing alignment.
So I'm trying to think of how to phrase this.
And I'm just scrolling through some comments
while I try to gather my words. Go ahead. If someone is having those actions and like they don't match words, right? Do you feel that they're conscious of that as it's happening? Because if you're conscious of it, then you can take action and change it. Or are they unconscious that that's happening and they really think they are taking action?
Well, I think that I think the answer is that they're unconscious. Otherwise they'd be doing it. Now, what level of unconsciousness depends, some people will pound on the table and say that they're doing it. And that's not even, I don't think that's kind of unconsciousness in a way that it's, they're not aware of what they're doing, but it's also basically sabotaging themselves because it's rationalization. They're making up an alternate reality to support the fact that they're not doing it. Gotcha. So that's even, sometimes that's, that's fear. That's what I start seeing when somebody's really doubling down on it. Well, when they hit a big wall of fear, that's what I start seeing. And then sometimes they double down on that wall because it's just too much for them to transcend at that particular moment. And then the rationalizations start. But this is where, it's important to trust your coach if you're working with a coach. Because most times, like everybody, like nobody that works with me, they you can't work with me and make it through more than one session without getting hit between the eyes with some sort of level of truth. That stinks.
Agree from personal experience.
Yeah. So it's you're going to get it. So if the people that work with me know that, and at least probably over the last 10 years, 98% of the time, 99% of the time, it's fine. And it works out well because the people who work with me want to get hit between the eyes. It doesn't feel good. I'm that way. Like I had a very strict person that took me through the 12 steps and induced my first spiritual awakenings because I needed it. And I knew I needed it at that time. I've never let anybody talk to me the way he talked to me before or since. But I knew I needed it. My soul knew I needed it. And, and I was willing to do anything. So, but I mean, I have had friends that will still do it. And I value those friends very much, that will still, because sometimes I need if I need help, I usually need somebody really strong to help me. So there's a few people in my life that I know I can call them up at any time and they will punch me square in the face as hard as they can. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's what I need.
Yeah. It's those people that give it to you unfiltered, and you need to look at that.
I need that. Like I need somebody that's going and then stand in it when I turn on the drunken sailor F-bomb.
And they don't take your shit.
They'll laugh at me. They'll laugh at me. They'll be like, "Oh, you're triggered, huh?"
I'm sure that.
And I'll be like, "Yes."
Yeah.
But I know I need it, and I'll take it, and I'll stay in until I come out the other side, no matter how painful it is. I think that's why they get a kick out of it. That's what they've told me. Some of them have told me that. They're like, "You're funny," because you would just completely off the chain, man. But you will not stop until you come out the other side.
Yeah.
Like no matter how much pain you're in, no matter how much you're lashing out, no matter what. You'll be like, I'll just scream the F-bomb 13 times in a row and then look at them and go, okay, so what do I need to know? And they'll be laughing at me.
Taking it personally. As a personal attack on your character or anything. It's just like the check, you need to be checked.
It just hurts, man. It hurts sometimes it really hurts getting called on, called on your stuff.
It does. It's and it's also, working on that defense mechanism once that comes up, feeling like you're, being attacked.
Right. And that's why I like these people, because these people like, oh, that's just Glenn,
I love that.
It's like,
you can kick and scream all you want. I'll be right here.
Look, Glenn's throwing a temper tantrum. He looks like he's 4. It's like, I can do that sometimes, that hasn't happened in a while. I'd like to think, and I don't know this to be true, I'd like to think I worked through that. Like I can still go through extreme emotions to get to the truth, but usually I don't lash out. I did it enough where now now it kind of lost its luster. It's like, I don't even believe my temper tantrums anymore.
Yeah. I'm not quite at Glenn level, but I'm on my way. It's it is though about, I think that the biggest thing is just, being conscious, and being present, because then what's happening. But it's so easy once that emotion comes in, you're not really thinking logically. So it's training. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, it's true. So like, what do you guys, we got some quality people on here. What do you guys think? Like, are there certain ways that you're seeing either in your life or in society where, you see people talking about living a positive life, or either individually or socially, and then but their actions haven't really caught up with their perspectives? Like, one of the things I'm seeing a lot, like on social media, is everybody's like, a lot of people say that we're creating a new paradigm of love, or not even like, that's spiritual people talking, right? So sometimes it's spiritual people saying it like that, and then sometimes it's other people who aren't so much on the spiritual path but are good people and are working on themselves and have big hearts, and they're saying, we need more love in this world. We need to be kind to one another, and then until they come across somebody that doesn't think that the way they think. Like, we need more love. We just, what we need to get along with one another. Like, it's all about the love.
Right.
What? You like Republicans? I will kill you and your family. Like,
it really is like that.
It's like and like, this is, this is why it works, because we're still in this mentality where we haven't gotten our mouth and our feet going in the same direction. So really, the powers that be, the politicians, or whoever the hell you think the media, or whoever you think is screwing with us, because somebody is, like, all they have to do is drop something that is controversial.
Yeah.
Just go, hey, watch this. And they just pull it like a hand grenade, and they throw it out into social media or the regular media. And then everybody just goes like a feeding frenzy, and separates onto their sides, and then locks on and fights each other for it until the next thing comes out.
So crazy.
Yeah. It's so no wonder it's how they keep us separate, and then they can control us, is because we're constantly arguing about stuff. It's like who cares?
Right.
It's the whole mentality that, like, some of the stuff, like around the holidays, used to go right up my ass sideways. Like when they'd go like, they're taking the Christ out of Christmas. How?
What?
Yeah, that was a big thing a while ago.
Oh,
they're taking Christ out of Christmas.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I'm like, how? Like, how the hell can somebody take Christ out of your Christmas? Like, if Christmas is about Jesus Christ, and you celebrate Jesus Christ in your heart with your family, through words, through actions, through intentions, through anything that you have control over, how can some external force come in and like extricate that out of you?
Right.
They can't. Don't worry about it. Nobody can take. I don't care if every Walmart has Happy Holidays and not Merry Christmas. It still doesn't take Jesus out of your heart. Walmart doesn't control what's in your heart. Like, it's not a personal attack on you. The problem in the world is not that Walmart is putting Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. It's not the problem. The problem is that the people think that affects them.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It's so, out of everything to be concerned with and have that reaction where it's actually warranted, it's just funny how it comes out. I remember the one year Starbucks, they do their holiday cups every year.
Yes.
And they did, I don't know if you remember this, it was the holiday season, and they did red and green. It was a big problem. And they are not to do red and green anymore, because
no.
And it's just like, come on.
How am I supposed to have Jesus in my heart with red and green freaking straws? Riddle me this, Batman.
It's so it's funny when you are removed from it, you know, emotionally, like we are right now, and just like how laughable it is. It's really like a
ridiculous.
bunch of adults having temper tantrums like children. Like
Yeah.
it's
And
mind-blowing.
you know, like if and what's funny is like, how do you know that Walmart has happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas? It's because you're in there buying Christmas presents.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know. So, and you're buying Christmas lights, and you're buying everything that has to do with Christmas that has nothing to do with Jesus.
Yeah.
That's how you know. And then they wonder why it says happy holidays. It's like, because you took Jesus out of your heart. Nobody did that. We as a society have been taking Jesus out of our hearts for decades. And then all of a sudden, when the stores follow suit, we start blaming the stores. You know,
Yeah.
Be the change you wish to see in the world. There is no problem that can't be solved by society, and society is the people within it. You know, everybody's complaining about the government. The government is a perfect reflection of its society. Perfect. Why? Because they don't do what they say. Oh, wait, society doesn't do what they say either. Huh. Yeah, but I don't do what I say. Like when somebody says, "Hey, you know, are you going to come to the party this weekend?" And I go, "Definitely, I'll be there," when I have no intention in showing up whatsoever. Mm-hmm. That is what we call a lie. And we've rationalized it in society, and we go, no, it's a white lie. I'm a good person when I lie because I'm saving other people from feeling negative feelings. So we rationalize this behavior, make it righteous for us to lie, and then we wonder why our leaders are lying to us.
Right.
It's because we as a society are a bunch of liars, and we are being represented by liars.
Yeah.
That's why.
A lie is a lie. It's either a lie or it's not a lie. A white lie is a lie. Like it just, what's the diff? What makes it, what is white? What is white lie?
Yeah, that's,
it's a lie, but it's not bad. It's not as bad as a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, to me, it's silly, you know, and then people go, well, everybody lies.
Yeah. So you might as well.
I love when people say everybody lies, because I just look at them and I go, I don't.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, right. Yeah. And they're thrown because they can't even believe I had the audacity to say that.
Wow.
And then they start thinking, you can see the mouse running in the wheel. Like, should I challenge this or no? Could he actually? And if they know me, they won't usually challenge it. If they don't know me, almost every time they challenge it, they go, yes, you do. Yeah, you do.
Like you're
telling me you don't. Yeah, right. No, come on. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I don't. I worked very hard on that.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like,
it's
really?
It really is conditioned in art because it's so accepted, you know, and it's the way that people are talking to you that way and questioning you and just being like, come on. Like, it's like this big, everyone does it. It's we really got far as a society.
Yeah. They can't even wrap their brain around a reality that somebody walks through life without lying.
Right.
Like, wow. Like that's where we are.
Yeah. Like, I wonder what that's like.
Yeah. So, and Susan asked, does it come down to setting intentions? Kinda. You know, really. I mean, but it's a good question. It's like, okay, you know, well, how do we get better at it? Honestly, I think that a good answer to that is making it a priority. Because I put this out on Facebook earlier today as a question. Like, do your actions support what you say you want in your life? And somebody said that they were good with things like being present with their child and their sobriety. So, but not so good with things like eating in the gym. And I don't see what I didn't see what their follow-up comment was, but I asked, do you see any like clarity on why you're good at those and not so good at the others? And really what it comes down to is prioritization. How important do you think it is? This person obviously believes spending time with quality time, being present with their child and their sobriety, that's up near their priority list. And they're doing well with it. Why? Because it's up at the top of their priority list. That's why. You know, eating good and going to the gym is way down on their priority list, so they're not that good at it. You know, like you're training for a competition right now.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you your training and your eating went way higher up on the scale of priorities than it used to be.
Yeah. And it's all about where you place value, you know, and
right.
I've heard myself say it a million times. Like right now I'm training a lot, but there's been times in my life that, you know, I said I wanted to, but I didn't have time. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. You know what? Like when I started this, I had less time and less money than I had all those other times that I made excuses. Really, like, and it's just about how you prioritize it. Like you say all the time in your podcast, we all have the same 24 hours in a day.
Yeah,
it's not different for us.
No, you know, and I've been there. I've been a single parent, and I mean a true single parent. Like I was half a single parent up until my son was 12, because like, yeah, I was alone, but I saw him half the time.
Right.
That's a half a single parent. That's not real single parenting.
Right.
You know, if you don't have your kid 24/7 with no help, then you're not a single parent.
Yeah.
You know, if your family watches them every day, you're not a single parent.
Yeah. It's not all on you. It's all on you for everything.
So when he turned 12, well, not turned, but when he moved in with me when he was 12, I was a true single parent. You know, his mom wasn't in his life. It was totally me from that point on, basically. So, except for a couple weekends. And I, you know, probably like maybe 3 or 4 weekends.
Yeah.
Throughout his whole life, not a year.
Wow.
You know, like, so he was with me.
Yeah.
And I was starting my business. And sometimes he was on 2, 3 soccer teams at once. Wow. And they were competitive. So some of them required driving to other states, especially when you're in New England. You know, all the states are close together. So now you're driving from Rhode Island to Massachusetts to Connecticut to, you know, so like this, all that. And like I said, starting a business. So all this stuff was all going on at once. And I was starting a business, and I was collecting food stamps when I started my business. He had just moved in with me. And my lawyer was like, hey, he's with you now. You can get financial assistance if you need it. I'm like, oh my God, like, really? I could have health insurance? I didn't have health insurance. Like, you know, oh, I got health insurance. You know, I got heating assistance. I got food stamps. Like, I was like, oh, awesome. You know, so I was excited. I was doing better than before he moved in. But I was still scraping by.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when I started my business, which I didn't realize until somebody asked me like years later. Somebody was asking me, and I was going through what, you know, oh, what was going on in your life when you started your business or something? And I was going through, and I'm like, oh my God, I was collecting food stamps. I was getting heating assistance. I couldn't even pay my bills when I started my business. You know, and I signed a lease almost doubling my rent, because now I opened up a business space and an apartment. And it was almost double. And I did that right when he moved in with me, and I was broke. It was like, why? Because the timing, like, I didn't even think like, hey, is this a good idea? Money's tight. Yeah. Because the time, like, money was always tight. So It's probably one reason why I didn't ask that question. But like, it was just, the time was right. Like, I was collecting unemployment. My plan was to start a business. I didn't know the custody stuff was going to transpire during that time, but I had a plan to start a business. So I was working towards it. And then all of a sudden he moved in and I was halfway through. It was like, well, you just keep going, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you get there and you look back and you're like, oh my God, that was wild. You know,
that reminds me so much. I did this seminar last fall, and one of the things that the instructor said kind of stuck, and it sounds like what you did, which is just cool. But we were talking about, you know, how to become the person that you want to be, right? Like the person with whatever characteristics, like whatever your goal is, who you want to be as a person. And one of the things they said was to take on a commitment that you don't know if you can do. Like basically like what you did, signing a lease with, that's like doubling your, you know, it's doubling what you would pay in your bills every month, and you don't know how you're going to do it. But through completing that commitment, you become the person that you want to be. And
that's the journey. It's who you become along the way. It's not, that's what you get to, you know, I'm like paraphrasing Michael Bernard Beckwith, he's big on that. And that's one of the reasons why I like him. It's, you know, that's what you get to take with you. It's who you become along the way. And not only, you know, it's who you become, but it's also what you let go of. You have to let go of fears.
Yep.
You know, you have to let go of rationalizations to become who you want to become. That it's more about letting go than it is about getting. You know, so this is how we achieve that stuff. You know, we look at it. It's like, you know, if you're walking around saying, oh, I want to start my own business. I want to write a book. I want to start playing the guitar. I want to grow my own herbs or plants. Like if there's anything, I think everybody has something that they want to do. If you want to do it, that's how you do it. It's like you make it a priority and you find a way. Oh yeah, but I can't. Like now, there was a post. There was a post the other day, and somebody said, I went. They were going to cook something, and they needed a particular vegetable, and they went, and this vegetable was priced like ridiculously high. It was just insane. You know, it's like $14 for a freaking turnip or something. I don't know what it was, but they're like, this is ridiculous, you know? And it's like, and I think that they actually asked for some helpful suggestions, and it's like, just, you know, grow it yourself.
Yeah.
If you can't grow it yourself, then does one of your friends or neighbors have enough land or space where they could grow it? And maybe you could just join up with them and say, hey, once a week or once every 2 weeks, we'll get together and work on your garden.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll both chip in and we'll both, like, you know, take some food from it. You know, or if they can't do it, then go to your city and see if you can get a little piece of land donated and make a community garden. You know, look online, see if there's some hydroponic way you can do it in your back closet.
Whew,
like
so many solutions. I can't even.
Yes. And this is what we have to start doing. Stop. Yeah. You know, if you want to do something, find a way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, because it changes who you are as a person, and it really builds your integrity, and it makes you feel better about yourself, you know, and more capable. And as you do things, like when I was going to write my book, there wasn't an ounce in me that thought that I couldn't write a book.
Right.
Like, why? Well, because I'd gotten sober. That's why. Because I had started a business. Because I started a podcast, because I raised my son, because I stopped lying, because that's why. Like when you do one, then you're more capable and your mind expands, and then you can do another, and then you can do another. So really, you know, probably pick one thing and work on that. and make it a priority, because it's not about the damn turnip. It's about you. It's about who you become. You know, when you're picking that first turnip and cutting it up and cooking with it and feeling that pride and that expansiveness of the mind that, okay, wait a minute, maybe I am not subject to what the people on the news said. The news said there was a lack of eggs. I found a way. I got a chicken. Now I got my own damn eggs. You know, good. Like, you know, this is literally what's going to change the world. Everybody wants to change the world. You want to know what's going to change the world? Same thing that's always changed the world. Grassroots. It's the people change. Yeah. You know, the people, and it's not, I truly believe it's not going to be some big revolt. It's not going to be violent. It's not going to be a war, because who the hell are we going to fight? And how would we fight them? Like, we're going to take on the U.S. military? Seriously? And then what if we win? You know, what if we win? Every country in the freaking world is going to be like, oh my God, they got a bunch of knuckleheads that don't know what they're doing. They don't even know how to launch the nukes. And they're in charge. Well, let's go over and take them over. Like, it's not going to be like that. You know, that's not the day and age we're in. We are in, you know, we're in a place where it's a global society. And yes, we are still separated to some degree, but it's a global society. And as the people keep standing up in different areas, and they've already done this in other areas, you know, they had this big thing several years ago about, wow, actually, now that I think about it, I think it was right before COVID. That would be interesting to find out the timing on it. They had this big thing that I forgot what countries it was, but there were these smaller countries that started overthrowing their governments through social media. They started banding together, grouping together, planning protests, and they actually had an organized way of doing it. Wow. Somebody figured out this organized way of doing it. It was nonviolent, and there was like one country did it. And they formulated a plan and it worked. And then they started spreading it to other countries through the internet. And like 2 or 3 other countries did it too. Wow. They were overturning their governments peacefully, you know, and it's spreading through social media. Wow. So I wonder if that's right before COVID started, because it wasn't that long ago. That would be really interesting. But anyway, I don't want to go down the road on too far in conspiracy theories. Yeah. But yeah, so it's, you know, we're going to change the world by changing ourselves. Be the change you wish to see. And the intellect, the understanding, and the feeling is bubbling up. That's how the spiritual change is manifesting into this world. And the younger generations got it even more. You know, they just like, if you're like, you know, you talk to, well, you're a millennial, you know, I think we mentioned this before. Like, you talk to a millennial and be like, hey, let's just start drilling for oil and trash the world. They're like, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, it's just hardwired in you guys and the younger generations behind you that it's unacceptable. That's just, we're not going to trash the world to get momentary money or pleasure. It's just not going to happen. It's not okay.
There is definitely a shift. There is definitely a shift, I would say, with my generation.
All that's happening. So we have the younger generations that are coming up that are more spiritual anyway. And then the generations that have already been here, that's bubbling up within us. So it's all happening. It's just about us, you know, really taking responsibility for our lives and going like, okay, do I say that I want to be peaceful? Do I say that I want to be happy? What do I do every day to acquire that? Right. Like, I can't count how many times when I ask people, like, if they meditate, they go, yeah, I try to. You try. It's meditation. If you watch this, I just meditated. Yep. You can literally meditate for 6 seconds. Yeah.
Very true.
So like, there's really no reason why you can't meditate on a daily basis.
No.
You know, don't try to meditate, just do it. Just meditate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like you're telling me you can't force yourself to sit in a chair for 5 minutes a day. That's like beyond your capabilities.
Yeah.
Seriously? Come on.
Yeah. Sounds like a priority issue to me.
No. So what they do is they just go, well, no, I have to do it for 40 minutes and I have to sit perfectly still and my mind has to completely stop thinking and it has to be perfect. Otherwise I'm wasting my time. And then they can't do that. And then they go, oh, see, I can't meditate. That's how they, you know, so don't rationalize your way around things. Don't talk yourself out of things. You know, if you want something, figure out how to implement it in your life. Act as if you actually want it. Don't talk like you want it. Act like you want it. Because that is what's going to change the world. Because once we start empowering ourselves and understanding the power that we have, then we're going to become sovereign beings. And when we're sovereign beings, we're going to realize that the people in control can't control us. And once we realize that, they won't be able to control us because we won't think they can. The only reason they can control us now is because most people think they can when they can't.
They're giving that power to them by thinking.
Right.
That's the power.
Right. Just thinking that they have control over you.
Yeah.
Then they have control over you. Like, I don't think they have control over me.
Agree.
I mean, for the most part, I mean, I'm not perfectly sovereign at this point, you know, like, I mean, I've got some areas that I need to work on too. But I mean, for the most part, I don't care what they say to do. It's just like, no, you may go. Like, just, no. I don't want to.
Right.
Yeah.
Not interested.
Do this. No. Yeah. And I mean, of course, some stuff we live in a society. So some of it you have to fall in line, you know, just to get along throughout your day. But don't make it a big deal either if you have to. You know, if you have to do something, then, you know, like, I mean, it was, you know, I had to wear a mask when COVID was going on. Did I believe in them? No, not really. But I was like, well, whatever. They want me to wear a mask to go into the store. Okay. So I just brought my little mask and I put it on. I walked into the store and I walked out. I took the mask off and went about my life. And it's like, it's not that, you know, like, we can't get past anything by fighting it.
Right. The resistance.
You know, yeah, some of it just is like what's making a big deal out of it just puts energy towards it.
Yeah, and you want to pick and choose how your energy is being dispersed like that. Like, is it worth it for me to throw a fit about wearing a mask on a plane? Is it worth it?
Right. Is it going to result in the result that I want? Like, people think that, you know, I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. As we move forward, I think some of the stuff is going to start looking like that, but we're not united yet. So now you're just an annoying pain in the ass, right? Like, I mean, if you have 100 million people that say, we're not doing what you say, like Gandhi's movement, you know, if you have a bunch of people that burn their ID cards because they don't think they should carry one in their own country to get from one place to another, they think it's foolish, and they all band together and they do it. Now that's going to make a statement,
right?
But if there's 3 of you that are deciding to take a stand because you're bored on a Tuesday, it's probably not going to make that big of a difference,
right?
You know, work on ourselves, you know, so then we can, once we stop arguing with each other and, you know, saying that we want love while acting out of anger. That's what it is. Most of the people right now are fighting for peace. Yeah. Fighting for love. You can't.
The energy doesn't match. Yeah.
No, you can't throw frustration and anger up against the wall and have it turn into love.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. So, you know, we have to start being, you know, walking through our lives with more integrity. So our mouth and our feet are going in the same direction. And that's part of it, like it's, I said, there's no judgment, there's no blame. And I meant that. But if you want to use, like, this is how I really motivate myself to make changes like this in the past and in the present. I use catchphrases or words. Integrity is a big one for me. Prejudice is another one. Hypocrite is another one. So I'll use those words in different situations. So I'll be like, okay, what is it when I yell at somebody for doing something, but I'm doing the same thing? Oh, that's a hypocrite. Oh, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm being a hypocrite. So when I say, like, oh, we have to act out of love. We have to act out of love. That's being a hypocrite. Okay, well, I really don't want to do that. Okay. And it helps me pull away from that. And none of us are going to do it perfectly. I know I don't. But integrity. I want to live in integrity. I want to feel in my soul that I am a man of integrity. And I do. I feel like I'm a man of integrity. I feel like my words and my feet are going in the same direction to the best of my ability. I'm human, so, I slip up and I have flaws. But for the most part, my mouth and my feet are going in the same direction all the time.
Hell yeah.
And I like that about myself. So I feel better about myself, and this is what we have to do on an individual level and start claiming our power back and becoming sovereign beings and confident and empowered. And then all of a sudden we're sitting there. And then, then all of a sudden the organizations start meaning something. All of a sudden now we have an organization that comes up and says, hey, you guys, see, like, to me, I flash to like the Civil War, with, like, most people don't slow down and look at the Civil War. Like, what happened? Oh, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. No, he didn't. Like, if anybody would have tried to do what he did earlier, it wouldn't have worked. Why? Because the people weren't ready for it. That's why. The reason that Abraham Lincoln's movement worked was because of people sitting around in their home going, you know what? I've been around, there's slaves everywhere. I've been around them, and they're people, man. They are people. They're not less than people. I've had conversations with them. I can feel them as a fellow human being. Like, that's what changed, was the collective perspective in the United States on that collectively. And once the energy got to that point, then when Abraham Lincoln makes his move, then all of a sudden things start falling into place. Why? Because the collective energy of society that actually controls what happens was going in that direction already. Right. So that energy backed the movement, and therefore it was successful. This is how all large, right. This is how all large social change takes place. It's when all the masses are kind of starting to think the same way and go like, you know what? We're being manipulated and controlled. We need to claim our freedom. Mm-hmm. And then, we really do. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, this is insane. Yeah. And then, and we have conversations and people have tea over it, and, they discuss it and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, that's what's happening now. We're in the midst of that. We're in the midst of changing the collective perspective on what we think is acceptable and what's not acceptable. And we're leaning in the direction of love. So as we do that, it's cool to talk about it and it's cool to think about it, but the power really comes when you start standing in it.
The action. Yep.
Right. When you start acting, because that's what shifts our vibration. Mm-hmm. I can say whatever I want. And is it helpful? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I can, so I can think, I can change my thinking. Is that helpful? Yeah. But until we stand in it in action, that's what really changes our vibration, and therefore the collective vibration. And it sounds like I used to talk about this and I used to think like, oh my God, that's like, so how the hell could anybody ever wrap their brain around thinking that like collectively, one person at a time, we're going to change the world?
Right.
And before it was so ethereal. Now I'm like I've seen so much progress that I'm like, oh my God, yeah, definitely. It doesn't even seem weird to think that anymore, which is beautiful.
I agree. For sure. Cool.
So yeah, prioritize, and you can start with one thing. You don't have to change your life yesterday. Just pick something.
One thing that's manageable.
One thing that's manageable, either stop lying. That would be good. Stop judging other people for having an opinion different than yours.
Yeah.
We can't say we want a world based in love unless they disagree with me. But they're bad. Oh, so people have the right to their opinion unless you determine that their thinking is bad, and a lot of people around you think the way you think. So a bunch of you think that their way of thinking is bad. So therefore you have the right to condemn them.
Right.
It's not don't worry. We don't need them. We don't stop trying to change other people and just change yourself. That's all we have to do.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care who thinks that I should have got the vaccine. I don't care. Everybody that thinks that I should have gotten the vaccine can go suck an egg. I could care less. I don't care. I don't care what you think. And I'm not going to fight you. You have the right to think that I should have gotten the vaccine. You have that right, and I give it to you. You can sit at home and I can be dinner conversation for 6 months about how much of a jackass Glenn Ambrose is because he didn't get the vaccine. Go for it. Please do. Please do. I will be over here just doing what I think is right in every area of my life. And I don't care what other people think is right. Doesn't matter. And so here's the underlying fear. The underlying fear is that if we don't change the people who we think are doing bad or negative or evil things, then they'll win. But they can't. There's more of us. Love always wins. It's by thinking that they can do something to you that screws it all up. It's like whenever I talk about utopia, that we do have the ability or the possibility of moving towards a utopian reality here on Earth. And that quite possibly could be the whole point of this experimentation called humanity, to create a new heaven and a new earth. That's what's talked about.
Oh, wow.
So this is what's talked about in all the religious texts. They talk about it. So we can have a utopia here. And whenever I talk about that, people go, yeah, but there's always going to be somebody that's going to want to steal from another or kill somebody else. There's always going to be bad people. Like, why?
Right.
Why does there always have to be bad people? Like, if everybody had enough food, shelter, if nobody was giving each other a hard time, if everybody was based in love, then why would, if you had the majority of people on the planet, just anchored in love, and then somebody else was like, well, I could be happy and anchor myself into love too, or I can make myself feel worse about myself by running over and stealing something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why?
Yeah.
People don't do bad things because they're bad people. They do bad things because they don't know another way. So if you're living in a utopian world and everybody's happy based in love, why would somebody be like, oh, I think I'll just throw this out the window and go do something that's going to make myself feel bad about myself? Because that's ultimately what it does.
Yeah.
There's this, I saw this post a while ago. There's this, I don't know, tribe, civilization, or something somewhere, possibly in Africa, that when somebody does something negative, what they do is the whole tribe like gets around them and tells them everything good about them for like a week.
Oh, that's cool.
Because they believe that if somebody does something negative against themselves or against another person, they must have forgotten who they are.
I like that.
And in reality, they are good. They are love.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason, they must have forgotten who they are. So they all get around and just tell them how wonderful they are, tell them how good they are, so they can push out those negative beliefs. Because they're not bad. They don't believe people are bad. They believe they forgot how good they are. That's why they do bad. This is and that's actually true. That's reality.
I was gonna say, yeah, that sounds like nail on the head.
Yeah, that's exactly how we are. Like at our heart, like if you're sitting there and there's nothing wrong in your life, like you have people you love, you like what you do every day, you have food, shelter, clothing. Are you sitting around just going, I think I'm going to go stab somebody in the eye with a fork today?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not.
No, I've had that thought many times, but never when my day was going well.
Never. You got that right.
Yeah. Never when I was satisfied with my life.
Yeah.
So that's the point. It's like, the negativity comes from somewhere, and it ain't from people. It's from people forgetting who they are, So let's start remembering who we are, and then aligning our actions with that. Because we're already doing it. We're already getting our mouths ready. We all understand it's important to be a good person. We all talk like it's good to, it's important to be a good person. And we're starting to act like it. We're just not that good at it yet.
Baby steps right now.
Yeah. So it's just put some consciousness to it and start acting like it too. More and more,
Yep.
So cool. So I risked it, and we went over an hour because this is live, so I think we can.
I know. I actually, in my head for a good 30 seconds, I was like, is it this or is it Zoom or is it this? I knew it on one of them we get kicked off at an hour, but I was like, we're just gonna roll the dice today and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's when we do the recordings that it has to be under an hour. So if not, you guys are even luckier than expected because
we should
because you're the only ones that are going to see this. Oh, all right, cool. So yeah, I mean, anything in closing you want to touch on?
No, I mean, I think just in conclusion, it sounds like we have our thoughts that are a good beginning point, so that we can learn what we don't know. So we can look into those blind spots, but then it's really just leaning into the action. And I think that a lot of the time when I speak to people about this, there's a lack of motivation, behind action. And they're like, I just can't get motivated. But I think it's just you got to just push through. And then the motivation comes as you're pushing through. It doesn't come from before when you were doing nothing and all of a sudden it's there,
Yeah. And I think if I think that's where the real motivation comes, when you start doing it and then you start feeling the change within you, and then then you ride that wave.
Inspired to do it, but the motivation I don't feel is the beginning. That's after you start living into it and you start seeing results from it, and then you're motivated to propel forward. I think, I just wanted to clarify the difference on that.
Yeah. And I think the inspiration, I think, is moving it up on slow down and look at your priority list.
Mm-hmm.
That this is actually break out a pen and paper or make a list on your phone, your priority list,
mm-hmm.
And it because we skip through life not making the changes that we want because it's, it'd be really nice to, do that thing where I hold myself accountable and I just don't lie.
Yeah.
And then we just never get around to it. Or, I start that hobby, or yeah, it'd be nice to, or, yeah, I know I work too much, but it's kind of where I am, right? Okay, well, pump the brakes, stop. Like, are you where you want to be in your life? I mean, internally, peacefully, do you have peace in your heart? Do you have happiness in your heart? If you don't, or if you want more of it, then you actually have to put energy towards acquiring that. It's not going to magically happen. The only thing that's magically going to happen is you're going to piss away another 5 years and wake up and go, oh my God, I can't believe that I'm in the same place I was 5 years ago. It's like, why? Because you did the same thing for 5 years that you did the 5 years previous? Well, yeah, I guess if you point it out, like it's not freaking science, it's just like, you slow down and pay attention. If you don't do it now, you're not going to do it, because you only have the now.
Yep.
So now is the only time anything ever happens.
Yep.
So make it a priority and slow down and go, okay, like what do I want to do? Do I really want that? Do I really want peace and happiness in my life? Okay, what can I do? I don't know. And it doesn't matter if it's going to work. It's the putting effort towards it. Okay, what can I do? Everybody can set their alarm 5 minutes earlier than it is now and meditate for 5 minutes every single day. Everybody can do that. Everyone. Mm-hmm. And if you say you can't, you're full of crap. Everybody can do that tomorrow. So, and everything is like that. There is a level, like the vegetable stuff, and like you can find a way to accomplish whatever you want.
Right.
And the beauty of it is, energy, love energy is much more powerful than any other type of energy. So, we're not asking you to quit your job because you want to be happy. No, you can still go to work every day. Maybe you could say no to overtime every third time they ask. That might be some action you could follow through on. Yeah. Every third time they ask, I'm going to say no. And then I'm going to block that time aside for self-love.
Yeah.
This is how to get creative with it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, Denise, people follow through when their priorities match who they really are and their basic needs. We all have different drivers. Yeah. People follow through when their priorities match who they really are. I'm not sure if I'm following that, but
yeah.
I mean, it's when we make it a priority, and we slow down and get really clear, like, okay, yes, I really want this, because you go, hey, do you want to be happy? Oh, definitely. Everybody wants to be happy. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go be unhappy now. Yeah. Just slow down. Do you want to be happy? Yes. Okay. Are you putting energy into making that happen? No. Okay. How can you do that? I can meditate 5 minutes every day. I could buy myself flowers once a week. I could set aside 30 minutes every night to read a book that makes me feel good. Anything. I could go for a walk during lunch instead of sitting around gossiping. I could, it's endless what you can do. And these things will come to you if you start looking for them. Whatever you look for, you're going to find, so make it a priority. It's not ethereal. If you want to be happier, you can be happier. If you want to be more peaceful, you can be more peaceful. If you want a hobby, you can have a hobby. If you want more money, you can have more money. If you want less money, you can have less money. You can do whatever the hell you want. Just lock on to actually wanting it and take some action to follow through with it. If you want to be more loving, then be more loving. I'm buying into social media, that I'm not trying to prove my point in external situations as much, and getting more comfortable letting other people just have different thoughts than I do, even if I think they're wrong. Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll pick a battle and go in consciously, but I'm doing it more and more on my day-to-day. I up here, I don't really struggle with anything going on in the world anymore. And it took a conscious effort over the last year to do that, because there's a lot of crap going on and I actually care, until I figured out that my participation in it was feeding it. Mm-hmm. My arguing about it, my, my getting outraged just gave them more power. And I'm like, you know what? You guys can't control me. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, this is nice. Oh, I like this place. So, all right, that'll do for tonight. We rambled on long enough. All right. Well, thank you, Aubrey. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we will talk with you soon, I guess, was my ending. There it is. All right. Time. See you guys.
Peace.
Looking for more? Check out over 200 episodes of Life Lessons in Laughter, or click the link in the description of this episode to connect with Glenn directly.